right. Hey, welcome back, guys. All right, let's take a little peek at kind of any signs or symbols that come up today. Ooh, we have Temperance and we have the Death card. Okay, so first off, really beautiful cobalt blue could be a color that someone sees a lot today. This could be, I'm picturing first like flatware, plates, dishes, things like that. Somebody could be drinking a blue beverage, like a, whatever, razzleberry or whatever they call that. I'm picturing a slushy also right now, but they could be wearing a really unique shade of blue also. I'm picturing specifically more like fingernails that have been painted blue. Don't ask me why. And then in both of these cases, I see like a choker necklace or something on somebody. They could also have like a tattoo or something around their neck or throat area. It's very specific, but we've got somebody whose third eye is open. This is changing everything. We have Sagittarius and Scorpio coming in. If we've got possibly a divine feminine who is suddenly changing her perception, I think it's about somebody else. She may be seeing someone all of a sudden as differently than what she thought they were. She may be looking at them as, wow, they're much more honorable than what I imagined. This could be somebody doing something really nice for this feminine. By the way, she could be a blonde with blue eyes. Does not have to be. It's just blonde or strawberry blonde or something. She may have dyed her hair that color though as well. She's a Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and name her now and say she is somebody who could be a business owner. She's someone who could be quite affluent or, well respected. She herself is a giver. I don't know that she's used to having people give things to her in return. That Temperance card says that there's this balance coming into her. I wonder if she's really going to be stunned that possibly a Scorpio that she would never have guessed is very similar to her, proves that they too are very grounded. But I feel like somebody is gifting her something, or she's realizing that she likes this person. It is kind of like, I've got to contemplate things, but you notice how we actually have three hands on her. So she's resting her face on her chin, and then we have one elbow that is bent, holding the other one. And then we have this third arm that kind of emerges out of nowhere. Like she has two, in this case, right arms. And it's kind of, it's interesting because this is like a third unexpected way to contemplate something. Maybe she misjudged somebody. She could be a Virgo, a Capricorn, or a Taurus. She may be pleasantly surprised, but also a little bit disappointed. Okay, so I definitely think the way she thought of a situation, she is having like a third contemplation now. Maybe she misjudged someone and now feels bad about it. Because at this point, the fact that we have three hands instead of just two, she never contemplated that. Well, why would you? Why would you contemplate a third scenario that is highly unlikely? How many people have we met in this lifetime that have three arms? I don't think we can fault her for perhaps being surprised by a third potential reason that someone behaved in a certain way. She's definitely changing her opinion about something, and in a favorable light, but unfortunately it means that she's saying, if I didn't think of that option before, or I didn't see this person in this way before, I feel bad that I didn't. Maybe I should have given them more of the benefit of the doubt. The only thing I would say is that this is quite the stretch. Let me go over to this Death card. Tell me about the Death card. Queen of Cups. So she's saying, maybe this person actually had a great deal of love for me and I didn't know it. You notice how it's like, I loved them. I was straightforward about it. But maybe without me realizing it, they had loved me too in their way. This is something about like way in the back of her mind. It's like somebody did something for me that I actually misinterpreted and thought that they didn't do that for a good reason, but maybe they did. Maybe I misinterpreted their act of love. Maybe this was them trying to tell me that they cared about me. Okay, but what did they do? Page of Wands. By the way, this is another really unexpected thing, because if you look closely, how many fingers does that hand have? That's not even the six-fingered man. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fingers on one hand, and I think 6 on the other. I'm sorry, but I almost feel like this is a stretch of the imagination. Maybe before I say too much, hang on. Let me pause for a second and change decks, and let me ask another question here. Is she trying to tell herself a different story that may not be true? Is she looking at things from an unrealistic viewpoint? We have a Knight of Wands sideways. Okay, so I am going to say it this way then. It's like she's trying to rewrite a story, possibly with somebody that came into her life and left very swiftly. And at the time, she's like, oh, I think they were a player. They were just here for a good time, not a long time. And now she's saying, but wait, what if that wasn't the real story? What if instead they were protecting me? They were, intending to be really good to me. But the thing is, that would, in this case, it might be very unrealistic, even though she's changing her mindset. She's saying, what if they loved me a whole lot and I assumed that they were a player? What if they left my life to protect me and that was a really nice thing that they did? But it's almost like she's saying, like, what if maybe all of a sudden I have 7 fingers instead of 5? What if all of a sudden there's, I didn't consider, what if they had 3 arms instead of 2? That's very unlikely. When we go for this outlandish, but what if, it kind of feels like she is stretching to make up an excuse as to why somebody who behaved in an unreliable way really was doing it for a good reason. We've got the Ace of Swords and we got the Hierophant in the reverse. This is the need to find truth, but finding truth, and in this case, this is not listening to our higher self while still claiming that we're finding truth. I think that's a little bit tough. This is breaking away from what she knows is logical in order to say, no, now I know what the truth is. Can we just get a closer look? Because I do think that this is a feminine who's starting to confuse herself to tell herself a better story about somebody and even make herself into the villain. Like, I probably misjudged them. They were probably wonderful and I misjudged them. That's on me. I don't know that I would say that. Let me go one more time. Tell me about this situation. 10 of Pentacles. Okay, so this is a perfect example of what we've been talking about with the confusion that I see in all this. She was blindfolded. She felt like this person was her 10 of Pentacles. The only thing is, I look at this as our vampire card. Just pale skin. He's coming in and we think he's kissing her neck, but he might be drinking from her. Now, we could also say maybe this is a mime, and, mimes are, so talented, so skilled, they can pretend they're in a box. They can, and physically they can almost just through, there is no box there, but you believe that there's a box there because they're showing you where the limitations of, where the box limitations are. They're really good at showing you imaginary illusions because they bring those to life. This whole story is full of illusions to me. And yet, I don't know if she's having the breakthrough where she's like, I totally told myself an illusion, or if the illusion right now is what she's putting herself through in making up a story where, oh, this person was wonderful. I probably did them wrong in assuming something when really what I should have thought is the most unlikely thing ever, which is I have 7 fingers and 3 arms. They were not a player. They were somebody who had to leave my life without telling me anything just to protect me, because they're really a hero, and how mean of me to have assumed something that they were doing something to be unkind to me. I kind of think if I have to choose between these two stories, is she telling herself a lie now, or is she realizing she told herself a lie before? Or, presented like maybe she always wants to think the best of everyone. But this feels a little bit more like it would be much nicer to think somebody really tried to give us a lot and give the best to us. But I almost think maybe she's starting to realize, no, that person came in and gave me a whopper of an illusion that they wanted to give to me. And they sold me hook, line, and sinker that they were very wonderful. They had so much to offer me, but then their actions didn't match their words. But they wanted me to believe. And for a little while I did. I believed in the illusion of 7 fingers and 3 arms. But you know what? That wasn't true. The truth is they were a vampire. The truth is they told me they were here to give to me, all the while just simply siphoning energy away from me so I'd keep giving to them. I think she's having the breakthrough. So I'm sorry it took me a while to get there because the storyline has been, weaving back and forth, back and forth. Blue is a color of wisdom. She's in blue in every single one of these, right? Blue, pale blue, pale blue. Yes, she has gold accents, cobalt blue, dark blue, again, gold accents, but we see a lot of wisdom, I think, coming in. And so maybe she's actually changing her mindset and saying, for a long time, I worried, what if I did them wrong? I don't worry about that anymore. For a long time, I thought, what if they were trying to be kind to me and now I've misjudged them? I kind of think she's been through the whole gauntlet of trying to find a truth in something while not listening to her higher self and saying, okay, but what were their actions? What did their actions show me? I'm afraid of misjudging them, calling them a player. But on the other hand, they said that they wanted to be with me. They were going to give. But what did they actually do? They might have just purely taken. Is that closer to the best way to interpret this? I'm asking the cards right now. 8 of Wands, 3 of Swords. Here's the part that's hard. There's truth all over the place in this. Truth. Please bear in mind, these are fictional stories. But there are little pieces of nuggets of truth all over. Do they feel like an absolute fool? Did they leave her life and still consistently wish that they could be around her? Did they exit and then wish so much maybe that they hadn't played these games with her? Yeah, but they also betrayed this connection. I'm thinking that what happened here is maybe this person really did want to be with her, and they played house for a little bit, and I'm going to give to you. We're going to be together. It's going to be wonderful. And it was so great to be loved by this Queen of Pentacles who was so generous, this Queen of Cups who was so loving. It was so amazing. And they said everything that they wished they could have given, but I'm thinking that they were like a court jester. They were a fool. They were the ones with all the illusions. It's like they lived out an illusion that they could be with her, be happily ever after with her. And it's like, first and foremost, they were lying to themselves, not even to her. And what do you do when you're dealing with a fantasist who's lying to themselves? It seems very believable. They can even make us believe that there's 7 fingers and 3 arms because they themselves were selling the lie first to themselves and then to us. So on one hand, there's an element of truth because it's like they really did want to be with her. And they feel like an absolute fool that the only thing they could think of to do once the fantasy that they created in their own mind about how they could be with her, give to her, love her, have the happily ever after with her came crashing to a halt is now I have to run away from her because I've lied to myself and then also lied to her. Now I still wish I could be with her. I wish I could come back into her life. By the way, somebody could literally have they could be really good at applying makeup. Maybe they're a makeup artist or something. But I'm picturing somebody with just flawless skin, or they're fabulous at putting makeup on. This looks like somebody who's really good with, making what do they call it? Glass skin or something, or just really smooth, small pores. And maybe it's with the help of great cosmetics or just with, great skincare. Sorry, that's just a weird side note here, but this could be them or her or both of them. I feel like that says that there was a huge transparency though. But then on the other hand, if somebody is only getting that smooth appearance through a lot of application of wearing a mask, again, which was true. I think one of them was very straightforward, and I think the other one was wearing a mask, is what we're getting at. Somebody could have a mask. They decorate with a mask or something, specifically like a Venetian mask like we see here, or maybe wear a half mask or something, for a Halloween costume, or even, I don't know why somebody would be wearing a half mask. Maybe it's the eye patch things to to keep the light out when you fall asleep at night. I could picture that also. Somebody has that. Okay, so no wonder this has been confusing for her to sift through, and her desire to not um, misunderstand someone. But can we go back to the death card now and just say, so what is the big breakthrough? Because this is a big transformation that we see happening in this storyline now. A Queen of Wands to the death card. Once again, and we have the book that says nevermore. So either somebody's into Edgar Allan Poe, or we see her saying, I get it now. They did want to be with me. Yes, they were a freaking fantasist because they could never have offered me what they said they were going to offer me. But it wasn't that they were trying to play with my heart or make fun of me or just be a cheater. It's that they didn't have the staying power to back up what they said they wanted with me. They wanted to be with me, and they told themselves a lie first because I was the hot commodity that they wanted. I'm a Queen of Wands. Of course, everybody wants to be the Queen of Wands. Everybody adores a Queen of Wands. Of course, they wanted to be with a Queen of Wands. But she's saying, I can see it for what it was now. I actually like the fact that we have the death card twice. Her thought processes, I mean, come on, we have gone round and round in this story, right? Because we've had to sift through as if we were her rationale, and her trying to understand, okay, so they wanted me or they didn't. They told me illusions and lies. They were trying to be nice to me. That's why they weren't around. Or wait a second. They played a bunch of games. They weren't actually playing like a cheat or a liar on purpose. They really wanted to be with me, but they told me a story about who they were when they couldn't back that up, because that was the only way they could get to be with me. And they really wanted to be with me because I was there. They were nuts about me. I was their Queen of Wands. I was the hottest thing they ever saw. Being able to see it through that lens, first off, it restores her sense of like, oh my God, they were nuts about me. Okay, I was that attractive that they told themselves a story so they could approach me, so they could have a chance with me. Okay, all of a sudden, I don't feel like they were trying to insult me as much as, I mean, you don't play games like that with yourself or other people. But on the other hand, this was not an intentional insult to her or to make her feel a fool. They're the ones who feel like the fool. This is a big turnaround. This is seeing things from a whole different lens, and it actually gives her back some of her own. Well, now she's like, they were a page. They knew they couldn't run with me, but they wanted to be with me. I even know they probably really wish that they could say sorry to me, because they came across as if they were way too immature, but they wanted to be with a queen. Eight of Swords and Queen of Cups. There is an energy here where she's saying, and then I got stuck on this for so long without realizing, look, what they liked about me was my beauty, my love, all of those things that they desperately wanted. But then I got stuck thinking maybe I wasn't good enough and they messed with me, or maybe they were terrific and I've misjudged them. Six of Cups. Look, if ever there were a time where she was ready to hear from them, to hear an apology, but actually hear it and put it into the real application, not tell herself a story about how they're better or more mature than they actually are, also not feel like they're messing with her, but really to have a heart to heart. Now is the time that that could happen. And maybe the reason she's thought through all this is because it could be that she's about to hear from them. In this storyline, it kind of looks like her thinking through all of this, getting her own mind clear, and being able to face them. Because I think that it's time, I like it or not, the soulmates come back around and he's sitting on a clock. I think that she can finally understand what happened even before he comes in to say sorry, because she's reached the same conclusion. So on one hand, there's this catharsis and there's this ability to maybe hear somebody out. But I kind of think that all of his thought process is because this is what's coming. I think she's going to be facing them again. I don't know if this means they get a second chance, or if they just wish that they could say sorry to her, or hope that she could see them in a different light again and have a do-over. Whatever it is, though, it definitely takes away a lot of hurt out of this story, which that part I really like. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Somebody may have a big clock on their wall as well. All right, take care. Bye.